Excuse me as I kiss the sky.
Let's see how long this live stream lasts. I've been having a difficult time with my live streams because of my phone. I did like a YouTube live stream yesterday and my phone, oh my God. I can't believe I spent $800 on a phone, right? $800 on an iPhone, and the network associated with it is terrible. So let's see if I can make it through this live stream. Hey, Montel. Hey, everybody that's in the chat below. Why isn't it letting me scroll? Oh, there you go, boo. I see y'all. Hey, Charles, what's up? Happy Cappy. Alamede. La. What's up? How you doing? I hope you enjoyed your birthday recently. You hit me up and you was like, it's my birthday. All excited and stuff. I was like, damn, I'm so tired. Like, I can't even celebrate with him. I'm so tired. So, it's Sunday morning, of course. Sunday morning. What time is it with you guys? It's 9 a.m. here in California, in Northern California. It's raining. We're having our rainy season right now. And if you don't know how Northern California works, people think it's like sunny here all the time. No. In Northern California, you know how you guys get snow on like the East Coast, maybe on Washington, D.C. or something like that? When you get your snow, we get rain, basically. So that's what's happening. So it'll rain straight for like an entire month, you know. And it's weird because then it doesn't rain ever again until next year, you know. Thank you. I feel beautiful. And for a long time, I did not feel beautiful. Like, I think it was because, you know, you guys, I disappeared for like 5 months and did like a self-care, mental health type of thing. Before that, I was beginning to not like myself physically, everything. Like, I was looking at the history of myself, and, you know, La's known me for a long time. La knew me when my 20-year-old daughter was like a baby and still crawling. And when I look at like older parts of my life, like when he was around and when I was in my early 20s, I tried to like do some self-inventory and try to think about, did I waste time? You know? Sometimes I feel like had I not left Washington, D.C. and ended up in Atlanta, I probably would have ended up being a minister. Because in Washington, D.C., that's what I did. And then when I came to Atlanta, I started chasing like this entertainment career. I started rapping. I started singing more. I was singing in Washington, D.C., but not on the level that I did it once I came to Atlanta. And I remember my family pressuring me to move to Atlanta. And I kept saying, I do not want to live in Atlanta. I was like 21. I was like, I do not want to live in Atlanta. Like, I'm not interested. It was like, this is the music mecca and you're going to be able to make it. And you've been singing all your life and you need to go be a singer and all this. And I was like, I'm not interested in living in Atlanta. And my entire family had moved down there and I was still in Washington, D.C. And moving to Atlanta was different for me because when I got to Atlanta, I took a train, and near the Amtrak train, when I got off the train, and mind you, this is like 2001, all right? I'm on the train from Washington, D.C. to Atlanta. I get off the train, and the first thing I see is this billboard, and it's two gay men, and they're kissing. And it is a website, a dating website for gay men. Now, coming from Washington, D.C., of course, I never seen nothing like that a day in my life. I was like, what the hell is this shit? I was like, oh my God. I've never seen it so bluntly in my face before. Because in Washington, D.C., you know, yeah, we had people who were homosexual, but it wasn't so flamboyant. It wasn't so in my face. And so once I got off the train and my family came to pick me up and I got to see the city of Atlanta, I saw churches on one block, and then that next block, it would be insurrections, liquor stores. And I would just be like, what is this? Like, this is like purgatory to me. And this is coming from a girl who was just in Washington, D.C. at church on Sunday, Wednesday, Monday, revivals, every weekend, church, everything was church. My life was church. My life was Jesus Christ. My life was Christianity. And here I was coming to Atlanta and seeing all of this other stuff I had never seen, especially with sexuality. Now, the reason why I'm doing this live stream, okay? The reason why I decided to do this live stream is because there's a duality to me that a lot of people might see, especially if they follow me on Instagram. But I'm like this on YouTube too, where there are times where I sit here and I'll talk about God. And then there are other times where I'll sit here and I'll talk about my sexuality. Like, I have an OnlyFans. I'm a very attractive woman, right? Anybody who's known me for a long time, you saw me do lingerie modeling. You saw me be in men's magazines. You saw me in music videos. You saw me on the television. And then you hear me talk about God. And a lot of people will be like, well, Christians, Christians are supposed to behave a certain way. Christians are supposed to act like this and act like that. Well, I'm here to tell you that Jesus Christ and God not out here looking for actors. Okay? When you genuinely have like a relationship with God or a relationship with a higher power, you feel very comfortable in who you are. Because, for instance, for me, I trust what God put me through, right? I trust that the woman that I became is enough. And even though other people may look at me and be like, oh, well, if she truly believed in God, she wouldn't be XYZ, but that's not the case. I think one of the biggest things that a lot of people overlook, a lot of religious people, one of the things that a lot of religious people don't do is not judge. See, I give God the opportunity to judge people. Like, whatever it is that you're doing with your life, and you may have misstepped in your journey, you may have made a poor decision, you may be, fighting your own demons. Who am I to look at you and feel some type of way about what you're doing? I got my own stuff to worry about. You know what I mean? Like, all I can do is walk you through this life, give you a positive word, and hope we see each other on the other side, wherever that side is. And then once we over there, don't let it be purgatory or hell, because I'm going to try to help you get through that too. And I hope you try to help me get through that too. Listen, it's a duality to me. It's a lot going on with me, Bronco, I thought Atlanta was like that until I watched Housewives of Atlanta. I didn't realize LGBT community was heavy like that in Atlanta. Yes, when I first moved to California, I've been in California for almost 4 years, right? People always be like, California, San Francisco specifically, is like Atlanta. It's so many homosexuals here. I was like, no. Not even close. Okay? I lived in Atlanta for 17 years. I've been living in San Francisco in the Bay Area for 4 years. There's no comparison. Atlanta's LGBT community is strong. Now, it's LGBT people here, but it's not as flamboyant. You understand? Like, people in Atlanta, it is just gay people everywhere. Everywhere. You understand? Bisexuality is something that's prominent in Atlanta amongst men, black men specifically. And we're even talking about black men who are married, black men who claim to be in monogamous relationships. These men are bisexual and they're down low at the same time. And these women that they're dating don't even know. So yes, it's a thing, right? It's very, it's almost like it's trendy. Like, it's something that it's a part of that culture. Atlanta in general is one of those places where sexuality is part of the culture. I think it might have been because, there was a time in the South where there wasn't nothing to do. You know what I mean? Like, all you had for entertainment was like sex and drugs and stuff like that. But when you come from a place like Washington, D.C., where, excuse me, that's my car. I just turned it on because I need some heat. I'm originally from Washington, D.C., and growing up in Washington, D.C., we had so many different things to do. Like, in San Francisco, it is so many different things to do. Like, you don't you're not sitting there bored. In Atlanta, it's some stuff to do, but for the most part, everybody's partying and having sex and drinking. That's mainly it. You know what I mean? And in San Francisco, it's so many different cultures. It's multicultural. So you have so many different events, so many different things that's going on. And unfortunately, since I've been here, I haven't been able to like indulge in that type of stuff because so many things have been going wrong. Like damn fires, COVID, all types of stuff. So since I've been here, it's California's been kind of shut off to me, you know. What made me leave Atlanta, Tina, you're asking why I left Atlanta. Atlanta was not for anybody, let me just say this, for anybody who might have children, Atlanta's not a place where you should raise your children, because the culture there is and we're talking about Atlanta and maybe the surrounding areas is maybe in a 20 to maybe 30 mile radius of Atlanta. So we're talking about College Park, we're talking about Decatur, we're talking about any predominantly black area that is kind of mid class. Even then, the culture, it might be bad. Like my daughter went to a middle school there, and this little boy walked up to her and told her he was gonna fuck her in the ass, and she was in 7th grade, and she came home crying. She was upset because the little boy told her he was gonna, you know, fuck her in the ass. And so I went up to the school and I was like, listen, this little boy here, who my daughter continues to keep having problems with as far as sexual assault goes, and I told her to tell the teachers and whoever. The first couple of times he did something real slick, but now he's going so far as telling her he gonna fuck her in her ass. What y'all gonna do about it? They was like, oh, we don't have any proof that he did that, and there's nothing we can do about blah 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 blah. You know, I took my daughter out that school. I took my daughter out DeKalb County in general and put her in Gwinnett County, where it was like multicultural, and if you go to a school in an area where it's multicultural, where some white people at, and you say, listen, my child, this boy told her that he was gonna fuck her in the ass, and they in 6th damn grade, he's gonna get punished. And we never had that problem again. You know, kids used to steal from my daughter. My daughter was always like wealthy, you understand, because she had both her parents, you know, and a lot of the kids that were in the black neighborhoods didn't have both of their parents, and they for damn sure wasn't wealthy. You know what I mean? Like, people think Atlanta money is wealth because everybody's, you know, they're able to buy like these big houses. Maybe they have this ability to buy some land. It's not real wealth when you step outside of it. Real wealth is when you are capable of living anywhere, you know, and you still, you know, have a substantial amount of income. You understand? So people in Atlanta, they think they're wealthy, but they can't afford living anywhere else. So everything is so cheap in Atlanta. You get what you pay for. So if everything is cheap and anybody can live there, suddenly it's not looking like such a beautiful place, because so many things can happen. Like I said, people were stealing from my daughter. I had to keep getting her new phones. When she was in middle school and high school, I had to get my daughter like 6-7 phones because kids kept stealing them. They were stealing her money. I was like, why do you keep letting these kids? You better start beating their ass. You know what I'm saying? What you doing? But my daughter wasn't built like that. My daughter's like real sweet, real kind, you know, a nerd and everything. And I was like, listen, I got to take you out of this. You know, so maybe if you were like in Snellville, way out in Atlanta, is probably a better, not Atlanta, but the Atlanta metropolitan area. If you go towards like Snellville or maybe out in Johns Creek or something like that, these were the areas that you could live in and live a comfortable life. And these were the areas that we lived in. So you had Johns Creek area, some place in Gwinnett like Swanee, Snellville, what's that city past Snellville? Start with Loganville. These are areas that are, you know, very nice to live in, but they're just further away from Atlanta. And then you can start seeing that it's wealth there, it's clean there, it's organized, it's blah blah blah. But Atlanta is not a place where you should raise your children. And I'm telling you this because it's been years on top of years on top of years on things that poison that place. It's like Babylon. It's something about that city that I don't know, it's something, the energy about that place, and it's high in sexuality. So even though you may not be teaching your children one thing, they have an influence of the village. The village you have your children around is also important. So when my son was born, right, when I got pregnant with my son, I knew immediately I cannot raise no man in Atlanta, because the men in Atlanta treat women terrible as shit. So of course their sons and stuff are seeing this, and so eventually my son is going to grow up and end up being just like that, especially without him having his father, who was, you know, running around Atlanta chasing tail as well, and preferred that over, you know, being a family man. So I was like, I gotta move someplace where my son can get the education that I would have got. I don't want to go back to DC. I grew up in DC, but the education that my son got, you know, I still don't want it for my son. And so I went to to California, because it's kind of like DC. It's just a better, you know, it's more races of people. It's just it's not so political. Like in Washington DC, they taught you two things. You either had to be a part of the military, have a government job, or be a police officer. Those was like the three things that, you know, everybody just wanted to be. You know, you got to be in politics or something like that, because you're in Washington DC. The president of the United States lives there. The military is heavy there. The police and stuff is heavy there. So as we were growing up, you know, the military recruiters would come to our schools and try to get us to do that. And I had been seeing that since like elementary school, you know? So I was like, do I really want my son to be like taught that that's the only way he's going to be successful and shit like that? So I was like, let me just try something different. Nina, I was always saying I wanted to move to Atlanta, and then I saw your video a couple of years ago talking about it, and it made me rethink that decision. Yeah, Atlanta looked good from the outside. It looked good when you're watching TV, but y'all have to remember it's TV. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that that's, you know, real. You know what I'm saying? It's smoke and mirrors. It's entertainment. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to make you think that it's a good place to live. So I'm glad that you know, it's like, let me rethink this. Everybody think they somebody. Everybody try to be in Hollywood and try to be, you know, act all arrogant and cocky and stuff. And the grade of people is different. You know what I mean? Like, you got good people, but it's far and few in between. You know, it's like everybody out there trying to get you. Like, it looks like, depending upon what industry that you work in, you can make a decent amount of money. Like, I was in IT, so I made a decent amount of money. But like I said, most of the people are trying to be in the entertainment industry. So what they're going to do is cut corners. You're going to get lied to. You're going to get, you know, you're going to be put in a position to where you can't even be polite as far as business goes. I come out here, I handle business. I'm dealing with people who are polite to me. In Atlanta, you're out here, you're dealing with business. You're dealing with a predominantly black crowd. People sitting out here asking for discounts, free stuff, refunds, all types of just stuff that is unnecessary, right? And you're sitting there like, oh my God, you got people who not paying you on time. You got things that you worrying about that you wouldn't have to worry about if you was in another area or you was dealing with a different type of person. So Atlanta just has a lot of fucked up shit with it. You could have moved to Houston, Texas. California is super expensive. Well, let me tell you what people were saying to me about Houston that made me not move to Houston. They was basically saying Houston wasn't nothing but Atlanta. People that were from Houston were saying, oh, Houston and Atlanta are similar. So it's like, okay, you get what you pay for. I just said that. You said Atlanta is cheaper. It's cheap. And so is Houston. I don't want to live somewhere that's cheap. I don't want to live somewhere that's cheap because 17 years of living in Atlanta, I lived somewhere that was cheap. And the experiences that I had with other people was terrible. And it wasn't because I just was deciding to just start some beef with people out of nowhere. No, it's just the way that place is. Number one, I just said I don't like the way that men treat women. Because it's y'all know the saying. It's 3 women to every 1 man. Men out here juggling women. They're sleeping with men. You know, they're lying to women. Women are out here fighting for these men and everything. They're being side chicks. They're comfortable with it. They're fighting each other over 1 man. It's too much. Who wants that? I don't want that. I don't want my son seeing nothing like that. I don't want to have to, if I go to Lenox Mall, consistently have to tell my son why a parade of homosexual people are dressed like cheerleaders doing cartwheels in the middle of the mall. You know what I'm saying? That's not something I want to keep having to explain, and it's all he continues to see. See, it's one thing for me to be at a place and I might see something I disagree with, and I see it sometimes, and I can explain to my son, you know, I don't like, this person is drunk. You know, I think that this person had too much alcohol, and I can say to my son that's what's wrong with them. Versus everybody drunk all day, every day, and every time me and my son go out somewhere, I got to explain to him why everybody drunk. Eventually, if he keeps seeing this repetitive behavior, he's going to become that. So I was like, I need to take him to a place where people behave a lot better, because people lose their self-control and emotional discipline in Atlanta. It's like they're all over the place. You know what I mean? And like I said, when I first moved to Atlanta from Washington, D.C., I was a minister. So when I went to Atlanta and they were talking about chasing, my family was telling me, hey, you can work on your music career here. I was like, okay, you know, I don't want to be in Atlanta, but okay, because nothing seemed appealing to me about Atlanta. I always had a bad feeling about Atlanta before I got there. And so my family really had to get on my case about moving there. They left without me. That's how serious it was. They left, went to Atlanta, I stayed. I was like, Washington, D.C., that's where I want to be. I'm not going anywhere else. DMV area, that's it. It was like, come do your career. Blah, 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 blah. So I came, and then I started working at Def Jam. I interned at Def Jam for a little while and worked at Graham Hustle for a little while. And I worked on my music. But then I started to realize, working on my music, even with me being a singer, a lot of people didn't really want me to sing music about God. Guys would hit me up, like rappers would hit me up, and they'd be like, listen, I need you to sing this hook for me, and I need you to audition. And this fool said, if you audition for me, just make sure you don't sing something that has to do with God. I was like, basically, that's all I know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a gospel singer. You're calling a gospel singer, asking me to sing something that has nothing to do with God. And so suddenly I was like, okay, I gotta work on something, because these rappers are wanting me to sing stuff, and apparently nobody wants me to sing gospel music. So I just started singing stuff they want to sing. I started rapping what they wanted me to rap. And this is what I was trying to explain to somebody recently who was talking about why so many Meg Thee Stallions and Cardi B's and City Girls and all of these women that are basically hypersexual, is because inside of the entertainment industry, when you try to be something other than, you know, sexual, people brush you off. People brush you off. If you're not singing something about drugs, alcohol, disrespecting women, something ridiculous like that, these men didn't want you to come and sing a hook. They didn't want you to do that. So it was hard to try to start a gospel singing career in Atlanta. So I had to just start singing other stuff. And I just started getting away from God, doing all these other things. Nothing that had to do with church. I did have a job. I was ministering at this place, and I was doing like their clerk stuff, like their file clerking and their accounting stuff. This is when I was really young. I was an independent contractor at this ministry called Women of God Changing Lives Through Christ. And Women of God Changing Lives Through Christ was ran by Pebbles. Y'all know Pebbles. Pebbles used to be TLC's manager. And she was Sister Perry at this time. And so even working at her ministry and going into her ministry every day, and it wasn't really her, it was the people that worked for her. It was easy for me to start turning my back to God, because I started seeing stuff that was happening in the church there. Because stuff that happens in the church there was different from what was happening in the church in Washington, D.C. So in Sister Perry's church, right, number one, the girl that used to bully Pebbles when her and Pebbles was in high school was the girl that was her assistant. I thought that was just karma at its finest, because the girl that used to just beat her up and make fun of her and do all of this stuff was now her assistant. And I was like, wow. Now, when I would sit there and I would talk to her, I would say to her, you know, like, how does it feel that you in this position? You know, she was just like, man, I just feel bad. And I used to just bully her like that, because she ended up, you know, becoming who she is, you know. I thought it was just interesting that God worked that way. You know what I mean? But then I had a boss. My boss, he was married, and his wife, him and his wife had been together for about 10 years. And for some reason, his wife could not have kids. And so he was a minister as well. His wife couldn't have children, and he would pray about this. And I'm telling you, this man was the type of minister, the type of Christian that would fast, pray over everything. I mean, he was a really good person. He had a really good heart. And one day, they decided to extend like the staff. So they hired this other lady, and I'll never forget her name. Her name was Doretha Smith. I'll never forget this woman's name. She came in, and it was like Satan's concubine just walked through the door and destroyed everything. Okay? She started sleeping with him. I started catching them sleeping together. It was ridiculous. And I was like, this is... Some days they were supposed to come to the building, open up the building because they had keys. And it's days that they will come in, unlock the door, and then go and leave together and don't come back to the end of the day. And I'm looking at them like, where y'all been all day? And I felt so bad. You know, I felt so bad for him because he was already dealing with so much with his wife, you know, because they couldn't have children. And then he turned around and just started cheating on her. And it was just bad. And not just experiences like that. Other experiences when I tried to find a church home. Like I went to New Birth, right? Walk up in a New Birth. Now, mind you, I came from this big church called, in DC, it was in Fort Washington, Maryland. It was called Ebenezer AME Church. All right? In Fort Washington, Maryland. Anybody who's in Fort Washington, Maryland, you know about this church. This is the church that I went to. So when I went to New Birth, I was thinking New Birth was going to be similar, right? I get into New Birth. It was like watching Lucifer in HD TV. First of all, I never seen a performance or a production flow so well in my life. Like, you could tell it was staged, it was orchestrated, everything was so like, you could tell it was for TV. That's what it was for. Because remember, during that time, I think he was, you know, like televangelist type of person. And it just, the way people were coming to church, they was making sure they dressed a certain way because they knew they was going to be on television. It was just too much. It wasn't of God. It didn't feel like God to me. And no matter what church I went to, it never felt right. I went to this church called Victory in the same area. I think it was in like Lithonia. And it was ran by a woman. And it felt a little good because my mother would go there. But something was off about that church as well. I went to World Changers with Creflo Dollar. Now, I tried to stick to Creflo Dollar because I had been jumping from church to church to church to church. So I tried to stick with Creflo. I really did. And Creflo's church was far from where I lived because, like I told you guys, I was living like in Gwinnett. So I had to go all the way to the other side of Atlanta to go to Creflo Dollar's church. And it was just so difficult. And I was just like, being a woman of God is hard in Atlanta because you got all of these churches everywhere, and none of these churches are of God. It's churches everywhere. And you would think because it's churches everywhere, you should be able to find a decent church home. Nah, man. Because it was a business there. It wasn't about God. Church was a business there. And so it was easy for me to fall out of being a minister, and I think I should have just moved back to DC. I did live in Charlotte for a little while. I lived in the Queen City. I loved Charlotte. Like, Charlotte was pretty cool, but what ended up happening with Charlotte is that the modeling career that I started, it was taken off. So I had no choice but to go back to Atlanta because all of the work that I was getting with my modeling career was in Atlanta. You know what I mean? I had no choice. And I got caught up. With one of these men that I used to go to college with, and he wanted to get married. He didn't know I had moved to Charlotte, and I had been gone for about 3 years. And he hit me up and he was like, you know, I want you to come back to Atlanta. I bought this new house. I need us to get married. You know, he was crying. He was like, I haven't seen you at college. I'm sorry for what I did to you when we were dating before. I just want you to come back to Atlanta. We're going to get married, blah, blah, blah. I come back to Atlanta. All my work there anyway. My family's still there. And then here's this guy. He's telling me he wants to get married. I get to Atlanta, right? Lord. I get to Atlanta. This dude, I'm not able to catch up with him. I don't know what's going on. You done got me to move out here. I can't get you on the phone. I don't see you. I don't know what's going on. 3 months later, he comes out of nowhere, tells me that the entire time there's been another woman living in that house with him. And he just didn't want to tell me because he didn't want me to move back to Charlotte. I said, why the fuck not? You in Atlanta in this house with somebody else. That's how the men in Atlanta operate. That's an example. That's just a small example. Peppertone. Action Jackson. Peppertone. That's right. The nigga factory. Yes, Atlanta's the nigga factory. And I don't mean good Negroes. Because there's a difference between niggas and good Negroes. You know what I mean? Nigga factory. Kanye West says if he talk about God, his record won't get played. Yeah. Like, people don't like, I don't know what it is about when you talk about God in the entertainment industry, or when you talk about God, like when I talk about God on YouTube, I had always wanted my channel to be about metaphysics and spirituality. But when you're dealing with the black community, nah. Like, it's just something about it. It just brought a wave of like negativity. So I had to stop being so positive all the time. You know, now when you look at other channels on YouTube and you see all of these like positive, like, you know, white people and stuff like that, it's easier for them to gain traction. It's easier for them to put up content that's positive, and their community will attach themselves to it. The black community, on the other hand, it's a lot harder. Like, you got people who do motivational speaking and stuff like that, but usually when they do motivational speaking, it's attached to business. Like, maybe they're doing something that has something to do with their job or something like that, or they're teaching wealth or something like that. You know what I mean? When you're talking about relationships like how I do, a lot of times the only way you can be successful with that is if you're giving relationship advice to women. I give relationship advice to both genders. So a lot of times who I am, it's very hard to be who I am on social media, especially now that the algorithm is the way that it is. Like, in order for your content to build traction, it has to be trending. And I tell you guys, like my live streams, share my live streams is more important, because if you share them, then it gets into the algorithm, and then more people will see me doing something positive. But a lot of times people don't want to hear, they don't want to hear that. They want to see people getting ratchet, fighting, lying, something sexy. Don't even get me started on OnlyFans. Let me tell you something about OnlyFans. And Facebook started to pick up on the fact that OnlyFans is about to be the website that everybody get on. And y'all think it's not, but this is the direction of the internet. And Facebook and everybody's trying to stop it. Okay, and let me explain why. Because OnlyFans is creating, they're starting to go mainstream. OnlyFans was an adult entertainment place, right? Initially. Now you seeing everybody with OnlyFans is because they're going mainstream now. All right, they're talking about, they're getting people to come onto that site that don't do pornography at all. They got comedians up there, artists up there, musicians are going up there doing performances, virtual performances. And so as hard as it's been for someone to generate income on YouTube as of lately, because it never used to be like that. Used to could generate money on YouTube because your subscribers would watch your channel. Like, I have 45 subscribers on my YouTube channel. It would make sense if those 45,000 subscribers would see my content, but most of them don't, because the algorithm is showing them what's trending. It shows them what is popular for the site, not for the person that's on it creating content. OnlyFans, on the other hand, OnlyFans only shows people your content. That's it. And whoever else they're subscribed to. They don't have like this algorithm where whoever's the most popular person on OnlyFans is the person that everybody sees. No, your subscribers are who sees you. And that's how YouTube used to be. So now when you are creating content on Instagram, Facebook, you see all of this stuff. The stuff that you're seeing, it's not it's being pushed to you. It's not really what you want to see. Think about all of the stuff that you like, share, the people that you're subscribed to, the people that you follow. These are the people that you want to see, right? Because you actively follow these people, you like their stuff. But what you see in your timeline is what Instagram and Facebook and all these, different social media platforms want you to see, because their algorithm is producing the content that generates them the most money. And people don't even realize that. Like, when you see all the fights and you see all the negative stuff, they put that in your face on purpose to generate some income. And so OnlyFans is taking the internet back to the way that it was, so people who create content can actually generate some money. Facebook, Facebook, let me tell you with Facebook, and they're doing this with my Instagram too. When I used to post my OnlyFans promos, y'all see my OnlyFans promos, right? There's no nudity, there's no sexual activity, none of that, right? It's just a picture of me, like, maybe I'm, I got breasts. So I'm like, boop, 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 try to be sexy, right? Because it's OnlyFans, right? I still got to be sexy, and everybody know the history of me. I've always done lingerie, I've been a model, right? So when I first started posting my OnlyFans promos, Facebook picked up on it because y'all was clicking on that stuff like crazy. All right, y'all was like, oh, okay, and we'll go straight to OnlyFans with no hesitation. Now when I put up a promo, OnlyFans promo, Facebook and Instagram take it down every single time. You're soliciting sex. No, I'm not. Because over on my OnlyFans, I don't solicit sex and I don't do pornography. But if you leave it up to Instagram and Facebook, they classify you promoting your OnlyFans as that's what you're doing. Now, other people on OnlyFans have got onto Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and start complaining that now suddenly within the past week, Facebook is starting to delete anything of somebody else promoting OnlyFans. Anything that has OnlyFans on it. You don't have to be selling sex. You don't have to be doing any of that. Because like I said, OnlyFans, they have comedians. They have, it's chefs on there doing cooking tutorials. It's cosplay people on there. And they're building their fan bases. Once OnlyFans gets to a place where it's mainstream, people are going to start dropping off of Facebook. Number one, Facebook has a lot of privacy issues too. Okay, don't forget that, because there are conversations, listen, there are conversations that I can have with somebody. Like, say me and you in the messenger, right? We're having a private conversation. Facebook will see what we talking about and put us in jail. If we, let's say for instance, me and you having instant messenger sex. Let's say we're privately flirting, all right? And I'd be like, send me a picture of your, you'd be like, send me a picture of your, and I'd be like, okay. Facebook sees that, one of y'all in jail, or both of y'all in jail. It's a private conversation. You're not publicly posting it anywhere. What the hell is wrong with my goddamn? There it goes. You're not publicly posting it anywhere. Your messages still aren't private on Messenger. It's not even private when you use your phone. Let's say, for instance, you're using your iPhone. I text you my tatas. You text me your ping. It's up in the cloud. There's no privacy on the internet. The thing about OnlyFans is, let me tell you why I think OnlyFans don't have an app. If you notice, OnlyFans don't have an app. It's just a site. Because I think if they have an app, it will require them to collect all of this information. The information that you put on OnlyFans, it expires. And you can't take it off. Like, say, for instance, you might be able to do a screenshot. That's one thing you can do. I wish they would get it to where you can't do a screenshot. That would be good. But for the most part, it's so private. You know what I mean? It's like no privacy issue. Yeah, I'm on OnlyFans. You can go to my OnlyFans. I don't twerk. My bad. Not my thing. I don't do pornography. That's another thing. I do have nudes. People pay extra for nudes. Yes. But for the most part, my sexy pictures are up there. Like pictures of me in lingerie, stuff like that. And I give relationship advice. I give love, sex, and relationship advice for men over there. So, and we talk about money a lot. Like finances, stock, and stuff like that. Oh, thank you, Miss KSKV. Thank you. If you're still in here, thank you. It's the same way here in Utah. You ain't Mormon, but don't let them make you mean. Oh, NPO Creations, I'm sorry, you said, why do you say for men only for your OnlyFans page? I thought you were bi. Yeah, my OnlyFans page is for gentlemen. I'm bisexual, yeah, but any woman that comes to me, I would prefer her to be a gentleman. I mean, listen, my OnlyFans isn't for my sexual and pleasure. You understand? Like, it's not like I'm sitting up here just, I have to be on OnlyFans for my own personal enjoyment. No, I'm here to provide a service for men. So it's for gentlemen. You know what I mean? They have put it on the App Store, then it goes into their servers. Yeah, I didn't see an OnlyFans app. I still haven't seen it. You're talking about the OnlyFans app? Yeah, I still haven't seen it. I'm going to go look. When I finish this live stream, I'm going to go look and see if it's an OnlyFans app. Because I have not seen an OnlyFans app. I see the website. Like, even if it is up there, I think it's going to direct you to the website. Like, it's weird. That's the worst about internet. Nothing is private. Yep, nothing is private. If you want something to be a secret, don't put it on the internet. Don't put it on the internet. Okay, actually, I thought you said OnlyFans put their app on the App Store and then it goes into their servers. You're talking about other apps. But yeah, it's no privacy. But the whole premise of this live stream was me talking about how I could be so of God and then turn around and be so, like sexy. I think a lot of people put a negative connotation on top of sex unnecessarily. I don't think sex is a bad thing. I don't think promiscuity is safe or anything like that. I think that me being poly or me being comfortable with my sexuality more has to do with me being comfortable with who God made me to be. And I just want people to understand, when you see me posting about God, yeah, I'm genuine. I'm genuine about that. And what I was getting into when I started talking about churches in Atlanta was, I feel like when I was younger and I was looking at these churches, I might have been judgmental because I was thinking church is not supposed to be this way. Church is supposed to be different. It doesn't feel genuine. When I walked into New Birth, it felt like Lucifer in HD. When I walked into Victory and I walked into World Changers Church, it didn't feel like what I thought Christianity would be. So I was being like oddly over judgmental of church. You know what I'm saying? But I did eventually no longer be Christian, and I'm Buddhist. And Buddhism is the closest thing that I could find that has the teachings that I would want to teach someone else. Christianity to me seems a little hard, or it seems a little far-fetched for somebody to live up to. I don't know if you guys feel like that. Like, religion sometimes is hard to live up to. The stuff that they expect you to do is almost like, you do realize I'm human, correct? You know what I mean? Like, you do realize that, I eat, breathe, and sleep, right? You know what I mean? Christianity just seems so hard. Like the 10 Commandments and all of that stuff, the stuff that you're supposed to do, the stuff people argue about, what's a sin, what's not a sin, who can be a part of it, who can't be a part of it. It's just too much. Okay? Now, it doesn't mean that I'm saying I don't want people to be responsible or held accountable for the things that they do, because that's a lot of the reasons why a lot of people don't choose religion, because they feel like it's too much of a requirement. It doesn't make any sense. I think a lot of that is just lazy mentality sometimes. Because I'm not saying you should stick to a specific religion that's my religion. I'm just saying find something. I went to a church where the pastor asked members to donate $1,000 for him to buy private jets, and he already drove a Bentley. Yeah. I could understand why people be scared to give people donations now, because so many people have misused donations. You know, people are always going to think somebody that asks for donations is scamming. I used to ask for donations but I used to ask for actual stuff, not really money. When I used to cater to the homeless in Atlanta, I don't know if you guys remember this. I did this for a long time where I worked with Simply United Together. And with Simply United Together, we did this monthly like catering to the homeless event, and it would be like this huge event in Atlanta. All these people would come out and donate like shoes, clothes, toiletries, food. It would be like a big catering company out there, and they would give away free food and give away healthcare and, you know, condoms and all types of stuff. They would do free haircuts. The bouncy castle would be out there for the kids, and that's something that I did for I think a year in Atlanta, monthly. And I would ask for donations all of the time, and I ended up needing people to give me donations to help me move to Atlanta, and people felt so easy. They gave me money with ease because of what I had done in the past. And I think that was God, you know, giving back to me what I had given to everybody else. I saw you in a herpes dating group. Yeah, I'm not in a herpes dating group, so you didn't see me in a herpes dating group. Maybe you saw a fake profile in a herpes dating group, but you didn't see me in a herpes. I was talking about herpes recently, where I was talking about how my son's father had cold sores on his mouth. And when I first seen him have them, I was surprised like shit, and I'm still surprised to this day that I don't have herpes. Like, I really am shocked. I'm surprised I didn't get herpes from him. Child. Anyway, being religion is a hard thing. That's true. Platinum Plus. The real American Negro. Everybody fights and builds what they want. Only black people go home and pray on it. Well, no. Personally, what I think about it is, in order for you to be able to build something, you have to have a lot of faith in yourself and a power higher than your own to be able to help you build some stuff that you can't reach sometimes. Like, I know for me, I'm not gonna sit somewhere and pray for it and then not do the work. You know what I mean? Like, we do have free will. You know, you got to go out there and you got to do the work too. You can't just, oh God, please bring me blah, 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 and then just sit there. No, there's such thing as inspired action. And that's where my metaphysical beliefs come in. It's like, okay, I got to trust in the universe when the universe is talking to me and telling me to do something, because that inspired action is what's going to help me get, you know, a step further. Okay. Pastors are ordained pimps. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Auntie. Thank you. Show your box. Who is this troll? Number one, I don't show my box to anybody. You know, I'm not for it. I'm not for it. Trolls, please go away. Don't start up in here. Anyway, so yeah, I try to have a sense of humor all of the time, because the most important thing I want to do with you guys is to make you guys laugh. If I don't do anything else, I want to make you guys laugh, definitely. Thank you, KMU, LIMU, I can't. I know that's not your name. KMUILI. Sylvia, what's up? Sylvia. SRW1687 Elemental P. What's up? What's up? Yeah, my sense of humor, sometimes I feel like I should have kept doing stand-up. I did stand-up for a little while. Sometimes I feel like I should have kept doing stand-up, because I would have been funnier. You know what I mean? I think, because right now I'm like basic funny. But if I'd have kept doing like stand-up, I think I would have been like pretty funnier, and I probably would have made it far. I was thinking about contacting some comedians on Instagram and do some skits. I don't know if they would feel comfortable with that. I haven't done scripted stuff in so long. It's so long. I don't know. Sometimes I'm at a loss for what I should do on the internet, because now, like I said before, when we were talking about algorithms, now the content that you post when you are a content creator or you're a digital creator, Now the only way it's seen is if it's inside of this algorithm instead of it being seen by the people that follow you or subscribe to you, you know. Yeah, I haven't done a skit in a long time. I was thinking about doing it. I was looking at this guy. His name is Mojo Brooks. I think Mojo Brooks. I found him yesterday. And he does skits, and I was thinking about working with him. There's another guy, his name is Jeremy. He does skits about relationships. So I was thinking about trying to figure out if I could do something with him first. Because all of his stuff is like something he does with this other woman that he calls Bianca. I don't think that's her real name, but he calls her Bianca in the videos. His name is Jeremy. He does like skits with her all of the time, and they're about relationships. And I was like, maybe that's something I should do. Yeah, my hair is still natural underneath. Like, this is why I wear, like, this is a wig, right? I'm not ashamed that I wear a wig. I'm wearing wigs now. I wasn't wearing them before. I just started wearing them maybe like a couple of weeks back, like 3 weeks ago, because my hair, I want to keep my hair is growing so long, but it started breaking off because all of the wear ends here. So now it's just cornrow underneath. And I wanted to say that way because when I'm not wearing a wig, I want my hair to be beautiful for my guy. You know, like, guys love hair. You know what I mean? So I don't want my hair to break off and then I end up with no hair. Because I want to look beautiful every time I do content online. I was like, fuck that. I got to put on a wig. I have to put on a wig. And I know you said everybody wear a wig. Yeah, but a lot of guys, the reason why I wasn't wearing them before is because, you know, I'm a YouTube content creator. So a lot of guys were complaining about women wearing weaves. So I wanted men to understand, yo, I'm beautiful without my makeup. I'm beautiful without a wig on. I still look good. You know what I mean? Hey, Mr. Sawyer. I still feel like I'm a beautiful woman without it. And I want my man to be able to enjoy that without it. You know what I mean? When I do finally settle down, if I finally settle down, don't get me started. Don't get me started on a marriage conversation. That's a whole nother thing. Because being in Atlanta also helped me change my perspective of marriage. You know what I mean? Like marriage, woohoo! Like, people are supposed to get married because of God. And I decided to get into a spiritual marriage with my son's father. And I promised God and I promised my son's father that he was going to be the one man that I spent the rest of my life with, because the agreement was for us to be monogamous. And people, when I tell people I was in a spiritual marriage, a lot of people feel like because I didn't legally marry this man, it means it wasn't legitimate. No, I made a commitment. I made a commitment to God. And if you know me and my relationship with God, then you know how serious that is, because I've never made that commitment. I've never made that commitment before. And so when things broke off between the two of us, it was very hard for me. Like, it crushed my soul. Do you understand? My soul was so hurt. Number one, I was so upset with God. I was so upset with God. I was like, why would you bring this fucking asshole to my life? And he doesn't even have faith in you the way that he's supposed to. Because my son's father's biggest issue was he was upset with God. He used to be a Hebrew Israelite. And he was upset with God because God didn't answer one of his prayers. So he had decided that he wanted to give up on religion altogether. And my thing is, like I told y'all a minute ago, you don't have to be Hebrew Israelite or Christian. You could be Muslim, you could be Mormon, you could be Buddhist like I am, whatever religion that you choose. Just make sure it feels right. Christianity, after a while, didn't feel right to me. So it wasn't part of my journey. It wasn't part of my walk. But it doesn't mean I no longer have faith in God. Okay? And you can't lose faith in a power higher than your own. You just have to understand that there are some things that you don't understand at the moment that you will understand later on if you just trust God. Just trust it. I'm telling you, because when you don't, oh my Lord, things go so crazy. Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna talk about it. I just wanted to talk about my marriage, what made me decide to marry him, and then people devalue my marriage, you know, and it's hurtful sometimes because they don't understand my heart. They don't understand me and God, and how much it hurt me to have to break my promise with God and start dating again. But I had to start dating again because I was becoming like this woman that had like this negative connotation or this negative feeling about men all the time. And I didn't want to be that. Because it's not all men. Not all men are bad. You know, some men are good. Now, I did learn that I love my personal space. I don't believe in cohabitation. So I don't know how I'm going to live with it. I don't like cohabitation. I really don't. Unless it's a lot of space. It has to be big. It has to be a big house. You know what I mean? That's what I'm used to. So if I move in with a man, the house that I live in now, it will have to be twice that size, if not 3 times. Okay? Because I want to be able to have my peace and quiet when I don't want to deal, you know, with him at the moment, and I need to deal with myself and my own emotions. You know what I mean? Let's get into it since it came up. Is marriage a necessity? Marriage is not a necessity. But I do feel like some type of life partnership with you and a companion is, whether it's just a friend that you have for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be someone that you are having like some type of sexual activity with. It could be somebody that you still can get human touch from, like you can get a hug or you can lay down and cuddle with and watch TV with. It's people that have like that type of friendship with people where they don't have to, you know, be romantically connected or be married or be sexual in order for it to be fulfilling. So I do feel like as human beings, we do need somebody to, you know, be a part of this life with us. I'm not afraid of dying alone. A lot of people are afraid of dying alone. I came here alone, so 9 times out of 10, I'm going to leave here alone. And I spent a lot of my life being alone. So it's just like, I'm very comfortable with being by myself. But one thing that's not going to happen is I'm just going to be sitting somewhere dying alone. Nobody's going to care. That is never going to be something that happens with me, because I lived a lifestyle to where the people in my life, I'm so good to them that they're good back to me. You know what I mean? So they're not going to like stomp on my grave or, you know, spray paint it like this bitch. You know what I'm saying? My kids love me, and, you know, they'll be there for me. Do you ever see your baby daddy? No, I don't see my baby daddy. I haven't seen him since I left Atlanta. I left Atlanta in November 2017. I was about 4 or 5 months pregnant then. I left and I haven't seen him since. People send me videos. Somebody sent me a video of him just recently at Panama Beach, and it was disturbing to my mother. My mother was so upset because he's so behind in child support. He's like $1,000 behind in child support, and my mother was like, he's in no position to be on no goddamn beach while you sit here with your son, taking care of your son every day, and you don't get a goddamn break. What is he, you know, he doesn't deserve to be on no goddamn beach for what? He not doing shit. You know? I was like, my mother's stone cold G. But yeah, she don't like that he behind on his child support. If anything, he should catch up on his child support before he go on like some damn vacation. Your child support is only $264 a month. It's not a lot of money, and you're behind at least $1,000. So catch up first and then decide to go on vacation, was basically what my mother was saying. And I was like, man, fuck him. You know what I'm saying? I'll just use his money to buy my son some stock. He don't want to be around my son for whatever reasons. He don't want to meet him. That's on him. That's something that's between him and God. That's something that he gonna have to deal with on his own, you know. Lay down and cuddle. If I lay down with a P. I know that's right, Miss KSKW. You want to make that macaroni and cheese? You want to make that macaroni in a pot? Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying don't. I'm not saying don't have sex. I'm saying sometimes you don't need it. Like, I'm not like I'm the type of person. I was celibate for a long time, right? I spent a lot of my life celibate, right? So it's easy for me to not have sex. Like, I'm not as sexual as people think. Like, people think I'm like super duper like promiscuous and I'm just jumping on penises and I'm twerking and dropping it like it's hot. Nah. No. Not me. I haven't had sex since June. And then before that, I hadn't had sex since my son's father. And that was in 2017. I don't know. I don't have a lot of sex. I'm selective about who I have sex with. Put it like that. It take a lot for me to want to have sex with a guy. Like, serious. Like, he really has to be like super fine. I have to be super comfortable with him. I have to genuinely like him as a person. He has to have me mentally up here before he can have me physically. I don't know. I don't know why I require so much just to do it. But, you know, I guess it might be my age, because when I was younger, I don't know if I required so much. I think maybe I required dinner, a movie, some type of something, time, maybe like 30 days. Well, no, let me not say that, because I've had one night stands. You guys had one night stands. I've had guys where I was like, all I know is I want to sleep with him and that's it. So this is about to be it. We're about to go make that macaroni in the pot and just be out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've done that. But now that I'm older, I look at sex different. You know what I mean? I even with my son's father, he and I barely had sex. Like, people think, I don't know how I ended up pregnant. I still to this day, it's like, I went years trying to have a baby. You know what I mean? And I couldn't. My daughter's 20. Okay, think about this. My daughter is 20. My son is 2. That is a big difference. I could not have kids. And it was because of an abortion I had in my early 20s. And so I tried. I was in relationships with better men.